And I'm sitting
Mm.
here just going, I'm watching these videos. I'm flicking them off, as soon as they come on, I'm turning them off. But that B-roll video is so powerful. People don't understand it. And they can hook you, but it takes, like you said, 3 seconds.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here. Welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today we're discussing using custom creative to get an ACoS edge in PC. We're also going to be discussing why focus on customer creative in PPC, how much of your spend should be on custom creative ads versus sponsored ads, and what's the best kind of creative to use in video ads. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. All right, like mentioned, today we're going to be discussing using the custom creative to get an ACoS edge in PPC. Our guest is a returning guest and CEO of the Sophie Society. He first stepped into the e-commerce round after a spinal injury inspired him to create a brand of spinal health products. He designed his own products and built his personal care brand into a multi-million-dollar success on Amazon. He's facilitated over 2,500 product launches while helping more than 500 brands dominate Amazon's US, EU, and Japan markets. And we're going to be welcoming Chris Rawlings just in a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor. Facing cash flow challenges with your e-commerce business? Discover Viably, your ultimate financial ally. From real-time sales data integrations to immediate funding access, Viably is here to support you. Plan your growth with their free tool for online sellers and engage with specialists whenever you need. Extend your cash flow with Viably. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Welcome, Chris.
What's up, Norm?
Hey,
What's up,
how are
Kelsey?
you?
Good. I'm chilling over here in New Jersey. It's actually got cold again. It used to be warm. Now we're going, even though it's spring, we're going back to winter. So
Oh, I thought you
big fur
lived.
coats.
I thought you lived in California for some reason.
I lived in San Francisco, but I'm originally from New Jersey and I live here now in Princeton.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, we're talking about an interesting topic today, using custom creative to get an edge on your PPC. So we haven't talked about that too much. We've talked about video and how video is more engaging than just images, but I think we're going to get much deeper into it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're going to go way deeper. Yeah, I think custom creative on Amazon is going to be like as important as the creative on any other platform like Facebook, and like it's just clear the direction that Amazon wants to take. In fact, like, anybody listening to this now live, that you probably have noticed that Amazon is actually now like requiring custom creative on all sponsored brand ads, which used to be not the case. Like you could just have a default thumbnail.
Right.
Now it's required. So you can't just, you have to have a custom image if you're going to run, a sponsor brand ad of
But
any
just
kind.
look what they're doing even with product listings. Have you seen like videos as a product, your primary image?
Yeah, exactly. In the thumbnail, even playing directly in the thumbnail.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those, again, like, pattern interrupts. It was like, what the hell? Something's weird here. And then you could realize it was a video playing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. I mean, it's just really like part of the whole momentum that Amazon has of like getting more and more towards like really high engagement content and a lot more away from text. Like, I mean, you remember the old days, right, Norm? Like it was all about the text. Like everyone was like optimizing the description and the bullet points, and that's what like increasing conversion was all about, better copywriting. Now it's like 100 made a complete 180, and the copy is like maybe the last thing on the list when it comes to like optimizing conversion and optimizing click-through rate. It's all about the content.
Yeah, you're right. And it's a pay-to-play platform. Like when I think when we
Yes.
started, I know when I started, it was there was no PPC, zero. And all of a sudden, oh well, there was some PPC that was implemented, and it was like nickels and dimes.
Yeah. Max of $10 budget per day. That was
It
the
that's
max you
that
could do.
actually, we had that so I was, doing managed brands back in 13 and 14, and we had that in our contract when PPC came up, that, brands would have to spend a crazy amount, $10 a day. That was they had to agree on $10 a day for PPC.
Right. Yeah.
And there was
Maxing it out.
pushback actually,
I'm sure.
$300 or $300 a month. Are you crazy?
Yeah, I could just get those sales organically. All I have to do is make a discount code and shoot 300 products out the door in one day, and then I'll rank number one.
Oh, times have changed, my
Oh,
friend.
have they? Have they indeed? Very
So
different times now.
why don't we get into this? So why should a seller focus on creative in PPC now?
So creative, like we manage hundreds of brands,
Yeah.
and so like we see patterns across every category, and creative is one of those things that allows you to just like step outside the game of bids and budgets, the whole math game. You can kind of like rise up out of the ocean of math and just see it all from above. When you get into the creative domain, the possibilities become limitless because you're not just negating this or that target or graduating this or that keyword or adjusting the bid here and there a little bit up, a little bit down. That's all math stuff, right? It's binary, yes or no, or it's a number on a scale. But there's only so much optimization that you can do in the math domain. And there's a lot you can do. Like, don't get me wrong, like choosing targets, doing proper keyword research, having good bid strategies, having good bids themselves and adjusting them properly. That's all important stuff. But you can transcend all of that, especially for sellers that are having challenges with their ACoS or with their tacos. You could transcend all of that with custom creative. And we have now so many examples of times where we were like out of options with a brand that we were managing. And we decided to just go all in on a sponsor brand video ad or a sponsor brand, custom headline ad, or now top of search video ad, or like a custom image, either sponsor brand or sponsor display ad that targeted a particular type of competitor. And we can get into all those different strategies, but now is definitely the time because I think sellers, especially in certain categories, see their cost per clicks going steadily up. And this is one of the ways that you can kind of step out of that like intense bidding war and really just create your own game, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to, oh, here we go. Forgot to turn something off. Just give me a sec. Do not disturb. There we go. I don't know if you guys heard the ding coming in.
No.
WhatsApp notifications. Have to check it out later. But hey, look, we've got some interesting people listening today.
I
Some of
see
our
Paul.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
so we've got Steve, Luke, Rad, and I see that Paul's here. Let me see. Now, Paul is another guy that's been in the game a long time, and he's an innovator. He took his product, he went into licensing, and he was very successul.
Yeah.
And then
The
he tried
license
to get
king.
other people to come on and do that as well. So great that you're here, Paul. I haven't seen you in a long time. But also we got Kamal, we got Faye. Hey,
Paul.
Faye, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a long time either. Ed Matab, and I hope I said your name correctly. I usually get names wrong. But anyways, yeah, you're right, Paul. You're an old timer. So let's expand that a little bit. So you were just talking, about why focus on customer creative and PPC. What if you don't?
Yeah, good question. Well, so we do have some brands where
Yep.
we just don't have the creative. Like it's just as simple as that, where we partner with a brand that just either didn't prioritize making creative, or
Yep.
they're just not interested in it. And you could definitely still completely run PPC and succeed with PPC without custom creative. It's possible. It's not like it's an absolute requirement, especially if you have a really good product that kind of like stands for itself in the thumbnail and in the listing. But I would say as time goes on, it's getting more and more important. Like, like we mentioned before, Amazon just in the last couple of weeks has now, you'll see if you go to sponsor brands in your advertising console, there's a big banner up top on most accounts.
Yep.
Like you guys will see this, and it says update from, I think it's this from now on, either now or like in April onward. Every new campaign in sponsored brands must have a custom image or a custom video. And it's just clear what direction Amazon's going towards. And what we see is, we'll get into some of the ninja tactics, I think, in this conversation because we got some time. But if you're not seeing it now in your competitors, like if you search your primary term on Amazon as a shopper and you scroll down and you see what's on the headline, which is either going to be a custom image headline, product collection ad, or nowadays it can actually, in the last couple of months, you can now do video top of search, which never was a thing before. By putting a video in your product collection ad. Or as you scroll down, you see the normal sponsored video spot that's wedged in the middle of search results. You're going to see that this creative is getting better and better. And by the way, by better, I don't mean higher and higher production value. Like better performance doesn't mean, you spent 50 grand on, some fancy production studio to do
Harmon Brothers or something.
right, Harmon Brothers or something like that, to do one of those funny ads or something. That doesn't necessarily mean best performing. We have some ads. We have an ad that's for it's a shovel for people that do like gold panning and stuff like that, and they're looking for things in the sand, like shells and stuff, and it sifts the sand. This product, we couldn't get below somewhere around 30% ACoS on our other campaigns and sponsored products. And that's not bad, honestly. A 30% ACoS, like I'm happy with that, especially if it's leading to ranking as well. But when we launched the sponsor brand video ad, we just used whatever asset we had to test it out. And all we had was like this shot on iPhone, single shot, no cuts, shot of the product being used, sifting the sand. And it was just like a POV, like point of view video. And it had some text overlay and some music, and it was 35 seconds. That video ad consistently performs 13% ACoS sales week on week, every week. It just halved, less than halved the ACoS. And it wasn't even super high production value. We have another product that we most recently did this on, which was a pet car seat for pets. And this product, unfortunately, we got hit with a bunch of negative reviews, and they weren't related to the product quality. It was mostly that the communication of how the product is supposed to be used wasn't communicated properly in the listing. So we knew the product was good. It wasn't like that we were getting bad reviews and there were defects and we had to shut it down or something. But the review rating dipped below 4 stars. So it was like 3.8. And man, that's really tough when you dip below 4 stars to bring back a product. And so we were just trying to throw a Hail Mary at it. And it was still pretty early days. It had, I think, just under 100 reviews. So it's not that hard, when you have a review rating, to move the review rating with some reviews when you don't have that many total reviews. If I had a 3.8 out of 5,000 reviews, it's going to take me a long time to change that rating, right? But for us, we were like in the 80s or something, because this was like pretty soon after launch. So we tried, the PPC was not performing. Sponsored products, PPC, not performing. And the reason is because the only thing that shoppers see in sponsored product ads is the thumbnail. And the only things that you can see in the thumbnail are the primary image, the price, and the review rating. That's basically it. There's other things too, like badges, subscribe and save. But the main things people are looking at, the review rating, the price, and the image. And so it's very different. There's only so much you can do, right? You don't really have that many options except changing the targets. And that's basically it. So we tried to run up a sponsored brand video. And again, this wasn't super high production value. It was just showing how the product is used in a number of different use cases. And it was nice up close shots, got right to the point, no intro, no brand, no logo in the beginning, just right to the point, instant. And we were able to bring this product back. We were able to get sales that were actually lean and profitable, like under 25% ACoS. I think we were at like 17 or something for a while, and then it went up a little bit into the low 20s. But still, like the sales were, at least break even, if not like slightly profitable, which is amazing, right off the bat. And then also we were able to get the sales velocity up so that we could get some good reviews back in, and then it brought the listing back to life, and now we're up and running again. So, yeah.
So I'm curious, and there's probably listeners here. There's quite a few people listening live right now, but there's probably a bunch of listeners here that don't understand the term custom creative. What are we talking about when we're talking about, custom creative ads? Is it an image? Is it a video? What is your definition?
Yeah. So there's two basic domains that you can use custom creative in. There's sponsored brands and sponsored display. It's for some of you guys, you'd get into DSP, but just to talk to the masses here, like most of us have access to sponsored brands and sponsored display ads. Sponsored products, you have no choice as to how your ad shows up. But in sponsored brands and sponsored display, you actually have a choice in terms of what the customer sees. And that what the customer sees is custom creative. You can either upload a custom image that the customer sees or a custom video that the customer sees. And instead of just seeing a thumbnail like you would in normal organic search results, which is what you see with the sponsored product ad, it looks just like a regular thumbnail. The only difference is in tiny font at the top, it says sponsored. So that's a normal sponsored product ad. But if you scroll down in search results for any major keyword, you're going to see a video is playing in the middle of search results. That's a sponsored brand ad with custom creative, and the custom creative is video. So there's only really two types of custom creative, a custom image or a custom video. And there's only two types of ads that you can run this in: sponsored brands and sponsored display. And both in sponsored brands and sponsored display, you can run both video and image. So they both give you the option for both. The difference is sponsored brand ads can show up in search and on product listings, whereas sponsored display ads are primarily, they're just showing up on product listings.
Okay, super. Now, I know your answer. It's probably going to be, well, how long is a piece of string? But how much should you allocate towards spend when you're looking at custom creative ads versus sponsored products?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So if you have the assets, I'm of the opinion that these days, a lot more than people think of their spend should go towards sponsored brands. And sponsored display is, I would say, for more mature brands, it can be a larger portion. But in general, brands will have at least half of all of their advertising spend going through sponsored products. Sometimes it could be as much as 3/4 or even like 4/5, like 80%, right? But I feel that if you have the assets, and what we're seeing in our brands is, as long as we have the assets, we want to drive as much as we can through sponsored brands, because those ads, if you get them right, can perform really, really well. And really, we just get to the point where if we have a video that's performing really well in sponsored brands, we're just maxing it out. We're getting as many of the clicks and sales as Amazon will allow us to get, from certain targets. Like as much of the traffic we can get, we're just going to get. And then the rest of our ad spend, we just have to push through sponsored products, because sponsored products just gets most of the clicks on Amazon in general. Like most of the clicks on ads are sponsored product ads. So that's why you have to spend a lot on sponsored products, because you can only spend so much on sponsored brands. But as much as can be done, and actually this just came up in our meeting this morning, We had an internal mastermind, a PPC mastermind that we do inside Sophie Society, because all we do is PPC, right? So we're masterminding every week. And we talked about a product. This came up, one of our products. It's a higher price product. So it's $179, the price of this product. And we were having trouble making the brand profitable. So it was profitable, but only very lightly profitable. The brand was like netting like 5% or even less, like 4%. And so that it was a challenge. Even though we were growing and we were driving significant revenues for this high price product, the profit was low. But once we pivoted to really focusing and diverting a lot more of the ad spend to video ads, in sponsored brand in particular, we were able to literally we 7x'd the profit. The profit 7x'd because it went from this brand was doing about 2K profit to 14K profit, because we were getting way leaner sales with sponsored brand ads, and we were able to decrease the total amount of dollars spent per eyeball, and decrease the total average cost per click by focusing on these sponsored brand ads.
Wow. Okay. I have, and I'm sure you've experienced this. So just in regular creative, I try to get some of my clients to do video, and they're either dead set against it for some reason. I try to explain why 1,000 times, but they're just holding off. So now you're saying about the banner at the top, like you have to have this, but can you justify? I know you just said 7 times, but for those people holding off that don't want to do creative, tell us why.
Yeah, it's so tough, right? Because it takes upfront costs
Yeah.
without a guaranteed return, because you don't know for sure that it's going to perform better. And sometimes it actually takes testing. But the reason that it's worth it for almost any brand is that once you get an asset that converts, it will convert for a long time. So that video that I mentioned earlier, that I use as an example, that was like really grainy, like point of view shot on iPhone style. Once we got that converting and got traffic to it, it converts every week. Now we actually don't get a huge amount of traffic and sales every week. It's like in the low single digit thousands, right? That we get from this campaign. But it's consistent, it's steady, and it's very lean and very profitable every single week. So just it's almost like having that asset. It's like having like a little tiny piece of real estate or something that you're renting out. It's like having that video just added a profitable flow of sales to the brand permanently. And we just continue to run that, just the same video. It's one asset that just produces profitable cash flow every single week. So it just makes sense. And we're getting to the point, and we can actually get into this later in the conversation, but we're getting to the point now where we're so committed to this that we are literally looking at every group of buyer intents, every shopper intent group, and working on custom creative per keyword family. So if I have one keyword family all about portability, it's travel, it's takeaway, it's carry with me, it's in my purse, all the keywords related to portability, I'm going to make a creative just to show to those keywords for this product. Then if I have another keyword that's all about the material, it's all wooden or maple, wood grain, whatever that is, all of those keyword families, I'm going to make a creative that highlights the wooden aspect just to show to those searchers. So we're getting to the point where it's not just creative per product. We're getting into the creative per shopper intent per product to hypercharge the click-through rate and the conversion rate. So, and you might actually see your competitors doing this, because I see it. Like for some of our brands, when I look, on page 1, I can tell if I search a problem-based inquiry, like itchy skin or something like that, versus the solution-based inquiry, which is just like, skin cream or skin lotion or whatever. I'll see two different creatives, and I can tell that they're targeted to what that keyword was. So the market is it's really just early days though, for real. Everyone listening
Right.
to this, you're still like very ahead of the game just by hearing this, because most brands, like you said, Norm, they don't even make the video, they don't even care about creative. They know that most clicks come from sponsored products, so they just focus on that and they just ignore the rest, and they think that's the 80-20. That used to be the case, but now it's to the point where it's so competitive, the CPCs are so high that part of the 80-20 is making creative and just riding that for a really long time. So that's what I would say to brands that you deal with, that, and I deal with the exact same thing. They just don't have the time, or they say they don't have the time, or don't want to put in the energy or the cost up front. It's true that there's some risk to it, because you're not guaranteed just because you have a video to get better ACoS or better CPCs. It's not a guarantee, but there's a high probability, if you do it right, that you will do it. And we can actually talk about what a good video is, like how to make a good video too.
Right. That's going to be my next question, but we are at the bottom of the hour, and just want to let people know if you want to add some questions, do it now. We're going to be answering them towards the top of the hour. And if you are a first-time listener, we've got a lot of listeners on. Hopefully, there are a lot of first-time listeners. We have something called the Wheel of Kelsey. We do this every episode, and that's a
Yes.
giveaway. So if you're interested in entering the Wheel of Kelsey, it's pretty simple. Hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag two people, you get a second entry. And Chris, what do we have today?
So we're giving away a ticket to the Profitable PPC Challenge, which is now the most well-attended digital event focused on Amazon PPC in the world. This is the fourth time that we're running it. This is really like the value of a $10,000 mastermind, but only for 5 days. You get access to me and my whole team. You get added to a private group where we help you solve your PPC challenges and get you to the next level in your PPC. You learn each day the frameworks and the order of operations of how to structure your PPC and how to order it, and how to make sure that if you have campaigns that aren't working properly, how to diagnose what the issue is and what to do about it. We walk through all the stuff that we're talking about now with custom creative and stuff, but we go super, super deep on it. You get actions to take each day and assignments, and you have people that are holding you accountable throughout the week to doing those assignments and taking those actions. And it's just it's the best thing you can do for your PPC is spend these 5 days with us. And it starts April 22nd. So we're giving away a ticket for that event.
That's awesome. So even a lot of people do their own PPC, and this is an event to attend, but it's also an event to attend if you have an agency and you just want to be up to date so you can ask the proper questions. So I think this is a great event. I've heard tons of really great things about the challenge. So if you want to enter, as I can see, there's a ton of people entering already. Hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag two people, you'll get a second entry. Now I'm going to do a live read for Seller Basics. All right, here I go. Let's see if I don't screw it up. Hey, everybody. Or how about I start like this? Hey, Amazon sellers. Ever faced with account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon accounts guardian, which is $99 per month, or with code NORM, $89 a month. Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. And there's no long-term contracts, and you can cancel with just a month's notice. View Seller Basics as your Amazon account's health plan, and you can check them out at sellerbasics.com. Now, here's the disclaimer. Seller Basics isn't an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms. Results may vary, and membership is needed before events leading to claims. And terms apply. All right, now let's get back to the podcast. All right, so we were just talking about how to make one of the creative content. So the videos, what do you look at when you're doing this?
Yeah, basically, there's really two types of videos in general. One is an action video, shows the product being used, like in action, and ideally in like its most common use cases, and ideally with a type of person that would be using the product, your ideal customer avatar. And the second type of video is UGC or testimonial. UGC meaning user generated content or testimonial style video. And this is the type of video that you would use if there is no action to be taken with the product. Like, for example, if it's a pill, like if it's a pill, like the only action you could show is someone going, oh, you know, like, there's not much action to it. So the type of video to do in that scenario is somebody doing a testimony about it with captions, and ideally, you know, an attractive character or somebody with, you know, your ideal customer avatar who fits your ideal customer avatar. So those are the two types. There's action, and then there's testimonial or UGC. When it comes to the action video, most products can do an action video because most products are physical products that do something. So even if what all it does is sit around and look nice, you can still do an action video of someone placing it down and then showing it in a very nice, you know, setting or whatever. So most products can do an action video. I'd say about 70% of products can do action, and about 30% need to do some kind of testimonial video or UGC video. So when it comes to the action video, the critical part of the action video is the first 3 seconds. So if you have, and you don't want the video ad to be any more than 30 to 40 seconds. It doesn't need to be more than that, and no one's really going to watch that much more than that. So really, you know, 35 seconds is a good, you know, a good general milestone. But out of those 35 seconds, the first 8% of the video, the first 3 seconds, it will determine what is 90% of what determines the success of the video ad. I would say maybe even more than 90%. It might be 95% of the determination of the success of the whole video ad. And the reason is because if they don't see something in the first 3 seconds, and even the first like 1 second, they don't even stop scrolling. And if you watch yourself scroll, like either on the phone or on the computer, you don't spend more than half a second to 3/4 of a second on each scroll. You scroll and then you scroll again, and then you scroll and you scroll and you scroll. The motion is like this, right? Like the speed of my thumb right now, it's going more than 1 per second. It's like once every half second or once every 3/4 of a second. So that first 3 seconds is so critical because the first, you know, 3/4 of a second just is what they start seeing to like not scroll again. And then the rest of those 3 seconds is what determines whether or not they want to click or watch the rest of the video. And then after that, it's almost like you kind of already hooked them. Like the rest of the video is like, you know, almost a foregone conclusion as long as it, you know, continues to engage them. So when you're working on a creative, the thing to spend a vast majority of your time on is the first 3 seconds. So some people, that sounds really silly. They're like, oh, like I'm producing this whole, you know, video. How do you spend 90% of your time on the first 3 seconds? You just go that deep. You say, okay, like, should this be on a desk or should it be on a countertop in the first 3 seconds? Should I start by slicing a tomato or should I start by slicing an onion in the first 3 seconds? Should I be super hyper zoomed in where you only see like 1/3 of the knife, or should I be zoomed out so you could see the whole knife? Spend all of that very detailed attention on the first 3 seconds of the video because that's what either hooks them or doesn't. So
hey, look at Mr.
yeah,
Beast. He spends
exactly.
like right just for a thumbnail.
The thumbnail.
You know,
Yep.
that's the hook, is the thumbnail.
Yep. The thumbnail and the title. And also even for a YouTube video, it's like the first like 15 seconds. Like
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny because I was watching some YouTube videos on the weekend, and I don't pay premium, so I get the ads, and they're local. And I'm sitting here just going, I'm watching these videos. I'm flicking them off, as soon as they come on, I'm turning them off. But that B-roll video is so powerful. People don't understand it. And they can hook you, but it takes, like you said, 3 seconds. Then if it's outside of that time period, you've lost them. It goes down dramatically. And
You're gone.
forget, there was a formula that Wilfred Lighthart told me about how quickly people will click off, or your chances of them clicking through to your listing, because of the attention span. And it's that goldfish attention span, he calls it, 3 seconds.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's funny. I use the YouTube analogy too, because like YouTubers will spend a huge amount of time just coming up with hypotheses, and then once they launch, split testing their thumbnails and their titles, because without that, nobody even gets to see the video in the first place.
Right.
So it's like the video is almost like after.
It's an afterthought.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The main thing is the thumbnail and the title, because that's what gets them to click. So for us, that means that this is our thumbnail, the video. And if you're talking about a product collection ad or a sponsored display ad, the custom image as well. We can get into strategies for the images too.
Yeah. Let's see. We are getting up there. Wow, it's already 12:38. Okay, let's talk about the best kind of creative to use, and then we'll get into the questions. We have got 4 questions lined up right now. And I see Abe's here too. How's it going, Abe?
Oh, Abe.
The other beard guy.
I was going to say, that's like your cousin in the space.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Abe's great. I love Abe.
All right, so let's get into that question. So the best kind of creative to use, I know we touched on it, but can we get a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah. So video is definitely more important than custom images.
Mm-hmm.
So sponsor brand video ads, if you don't know where to start, that's the first thing to do. Do a sponsor brand video ad. After that, I would say this can be a little trickier because the cost is actually higher. But if you do a product collection ad with a video, you can get your video to the top of search. So a regular sponsor brand video ad, if you go to sponsor brand ads and then you scroll down, and there's 3 choices. There's the store spotlight, the product collection, and the video. If you click video, that's like a standard sponsor brand video ad. You could target keywords. It's very similar. The targeting is very similar to sponsored products. You'll feel very comfortable setting that ad up. It's not very different. And that's like the standard. I would say you could do a product collection or a storefront spotlight ad, and now you can actually upload a video to that, which means your video can show top of search. And actually, by the way, a little for more advanced guys out there, a little tip is you have to select multiple products to do the product collection ad. But then when you scroll down to actually uploading the creative, the video, you can deselect the products. So you only have one product. So it's a collection of one. And what this does is when the shopper clicks it, it takes them to the listing instead of taking them to the store, which is really useful because it's one less step, right? So most people think of the product collection ads as it's taking people to the storefront, but you can actually hack it by removing all the products but one. And then when people tap it, they go to the listing. So that's pretty cool. It's a cool little hack. Yeah. So I would say that's next. And then after that, a custom image ad in sponsored brands or in sponsored display, but the image needs to have some kind of hook itself. And the critical component there, we can get into this too, but the critical thing when it comes to images and videos too is split testing. If you're going to go out and make a video, and if you're going to try custom images, try multiple of them at once. And if you put, like, for an image, for example, if I was to do a sponsor brand custom image ad, I would never just try one, because images are very easy to split test. You could have them designed up. So I would always do multiple images. And an easy way to split test it is you put one image in each ad set inside a campaign. and then Amazon will figure out which one's the winner and start diverting more traffic to it. And sometimes it's not what you'd expect. Like we had a product that was like a closet organizer, right? And we had 3 different images that we wanted to try. One was like a lady like using the closet organizer. The other one was a closet organizer just in the closet. And then there was another one. I can't remember exactly how it was. But I couldn't tell personally because some of them were more close up, some of them were more far away, some of them had the customer avatar. They were all different. But when we split tested it, it was very clear. One of them performed super well with an ACoS under 20% in the teens, and the other ones performed very badly. So split testing is absolutely critical when it comes to custom images. So that'd be my order of operations. If you're just starting, start a sponsor brand standard video ad. Then you could try top of search video ad and sponsor brands. And then I would try sponsor brand images and then sponsor display videos and images. That would be the general breakdown for me.
All right. I think I have camera trouble. So maybe Kelsey can start on the questions and I'm going to reboot the camera.
All right. So yeah, we've got a couple questions coming in here. The first one, let's do Faye's question. How do you have several creatives without paying a fortune to create them?
Yeah, if you can't afford like a production house or like a professional videographer, you can make a video yourself. Like I said, we have POV, iPhone videos that perform well. It's not guaranteed to perform well though. The main thing to do is come up with hypotheses. So go to your search results for your primary search term and look through what creatives are already being used, what videos are already being used by the competitors, and find out, okay, if they're running this, it must be working to some degree, because if it wasn't, then they would stop it right away. So if you see the video and then a week later you sign in again, you keep seeing the same video, you know it's performing for them. So I would recommend you guys search, because you'll see which ones never run again and which ones actually are run for a long time. And that way you know what hypothesis to start with. So you can be like, okay, if I'm selling a knife set, most of the videos tend to be instantly the knife cutting things and showing how sharp it is. So why is this performing well? Oh, it's performing well because it shows the quality of it. It shows how sharp it is, and it shows how many there are. So I'm going to do all those things, show all those things in a more engaging way. And then you can come up with your own hypotheses for what to try and what to test. And then the main thing to do, once you have like the idea for the video, is split test different first 3 seconds. So you can have like the same video, but you create 5 different versions of the same video. And the only difference from the 5 is the first 3 seconds. So the whole body of the video, say my video is 33 seconds long. The first 3 seconds is different for all 5, but the last 30 seconds, the body of the video, the 30 seconds, the main area of the video is the same for all 5. So, and then you could split test those and you see which one is actually working best.
Okay, so you're not doing 5 separate videos fully. You're doing one main one with 5 different intros?
Exactly. Yep.
Nice. Okay, next question is from Hypology. What percentage split would you recommend doing for smaller brands between sponsored products, brand, and competitors, as in targeting?
Okay, so this is kind of 2 questions in one. So one is the breakdown of the ad types: sponsored brands, sponsored products, and sponsored display. And the other one is targeting competitors versus targeting keywords. That's at least how I'm interpreting this question. So when you're a brand just starting out, there's no way to avoid spending in sponsored products. That's where a majority of the clicks are on Amazon, and that's a majority of the impressions. So you definitely want to start in sponsored products, and that also leads you to ranking. So you want to have a significant amount, in a vast majority of the cases, a majority of your ad spend is going to be going to sponsored products. But I still would highly recommend that you try to get a good creative to run in sponsored brands, and try to get video in sponsored brands, because this can give you, when you're starting up, an edge in your launch. We've had launches where we're like, okay, this launch is kind of going off the rails. And then we go really hard in split testing and running sponsored brand video ads, and it pulls it back onto the rails. Like that story I told about the car seat that got some bad reviews. We were able to use sponsored brand video with really lean sales to get that launch back on track. We had another case with a product. We have this product that's like it's for pizza makers. It's like a tool for like people that make pizza at home. And this product was getting, pretty good results in sponsored products, but it wasn't the sales, even though they weren't a bad ACoS, it was like in the high 30s. It wasn't leading. They weren't getting ranking from it for some reason. So that ACoS, it's less acceptable when it's not leading to ranking. Like I'll deal with an ACoS, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s is fine as long as it's helping me rank so that I get more organic terms and my tacos goes down, right? But if I'm not getting ranking from it, that's harder. So we spun up sponsored brand video ads for this product. We were able to get an ACoS around 17%. So we were able to the average of the two made it so we could run more sponsored product ads so that we could then rank. So you're not going to get away from spending a 40 or at least a large chunk of your ad spend on sponsored products because that's where most clicks are on Amazon. But as much as you can run through sponsored brands, you should. And we have some brands that run 50, 60% of their total budget through sponsored brands. Wow. So that lets you know it's possible.
All right. Next question, Kels.
Okay. How do you forecast for products with ad history for ad spends and sales?
So how to forecast based on ad history, ad spend, and sales. So the main thing that you want to do, like prior to each month, is take a look at the previous month and determine what tacos you're willing to accept. And that becomes your budget. So if I'm selling like $10,000 a month, just to make the math easy. Well, let's say $100,000 a month. That makes the math easy. So if I'm selling $100,000 a month and I am willing to accept a 12% tacos, then my general ad budget for the next month will be about $12,000 because that's how much I'm willing to spend of my revenue on ads. That's one way that you can do it. But if you're really aggressive and you're really trying to rank, you're not going to be able to be that predictable every month because you have to adapt throughout the month. So having some kind of tacos target and knowing approximately what your monthly revenue is, that gives you like a general understanding of where your budget should be. Because tacos, just to catch everyone up, tacos is your ad spend divided by your total sales. ACoS is your ad spend divided by your ad sales, right? But tacos is your ad spend divided by your total sales. And the reason tacos is so important is that it's related to margin. If your margin is greater than your tacos, you're making money on Amazon. If your margin is less than your tacos, you're losing money on Amazon. If your margin is equal to your tacos, you're breaking even on Amazon. So once you determine what tacos you're willing to accept, say I have a 30% margin and I want to make 15% net at the end of the month. Well, then I'm willing to spend 15% tacos. So in that case, if I'm selling $100,000 of that product a month, then $15,000 is going to be my budget.
Okay, I think we got one more.
We got one more from Cool Hand. When bidding on these custom videos, is it usually a bit more expensive than keyword campaigns?
No, it's going to be less expensive as long as the creative is good. So when you get good creative, the custom video campaigns, you're going to get better CPCs. That's the whole idea of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the whole concept. I mean, that's the reason you do it, is so that you can beat the performance of your sponsored product campaigns. And the thing to do is in your sponsored product campaigns, you find out what keywords are performing best for your product. And then you go after those in sponsored brand campaigns. So you let your sponsored product campaigns data inform what you do inside sponsored brands.
Is there a way to monitor your competitors' stats?
So you can see with Product Opportunity Explorer the general conversion
Mhm.
rate of the competitors, and you can back calculate the click-through rate in brand analytics, but we don't really trust it. It's like the blended click-through rate of organic and PPC. It gives you some idea, but I don't believe it's like super accurate. So the main thing that we do is benchmark against ourselves. So we'll say, okay, what's our click-through rate across all campaigns for this product? Okay, that's our benchmark now. So if that's our, because that you can see exactly, right? The accurate, exact data of your click through rate, at least the PPC click through rate across all campaigns for a given product. You just got to make sure that your campaigns are organized by portfolio. So one portfolio, one product, all campaigns for that product in that portfolio. Then you can easily see what the click through rate is across everything. And that becomes your average. So now you have something to beat. So you know that if you spin up a new campaign and you have a higher click through rate, than what your average is, you're doing great. You're getting more clicks than you used to. So you always have something to beat, and you can always be like amping it up by comparing yourself to yourself. And that's the main way that we benchmark.
Okay. And I think that's it. Chris, contact information, talk a little bit more about the challenge.
Yeah. So you could hit me up at hello@sophiesociety.com, or if you want to check out the challenge, I think Norm, you dropped a link in there. It's
Yeah.
ppcchallenge.sophiesociety.com. You could just click the link that Norm just dropped into the comments. This is the most well-attended Amazon PPC focused digital event in the world right now. We are cutting off the people that come in to a strict top level number, because we keep an 8-to-1 mentor to participant ratio, or sorry, 8-to-1 participant to mentor ratio, so that everybody gets attention. So when you come in, you get access to these office hours sections where you show up and you have a challenge, and we actually walk through what your challenge is, and we will actually bring some people up on deck so that you can share your challenge and we can walk through it together. You have a private group that is where you're matched with an 8-to-1 participant to mentor ratio with PPC experts, all with millions of dollars of ad spend under their belt. These are guys from my team that are running my brands, and they're there to help you with your challenges throughout the entire 5 days. So that's amazing. That in and of itself is like, high level mastermind access. And then you also you go live with me each day. And each day we do a very dense, high speed, high impact training on how to properly structure your PPC. And we go from the beginning all the way to the end of the week. We cover everything. We cover bidding, we cover budgets, we cover day parting, we cover sponsor brands, sponsored products, and sponsored display. We cover custom creative. We cover campaign structure, campaign naming convention. We cover how to do it if you're a consumable brand, how to do it if you're a non-consumable brand. We cover everything. So you come out of this 5 days with complete clarity about how to use PPC to hit your brand's goals. That's the whole idea. So I'd love to see you guys come. It's April 22nd. It is a commitment. So we actually have a double opt-in. Like when you sign up, you then have to then again commit that you will show up each day, because we have a limited number of seats, and it's just not fair if you sign up and you take a seat and then you don't even show up. So you have to commit to showing up each day. If you can't show up at that exact time, we send you a private 24-hour replay link so that you can still stay along with us. You just have to message us to do that. But so keep that in mind. It is a commitment of time. But if you do commit the time for these 5 days, you come out of those 5 days a complete PPC wizard, ninja, ready to use PPC as a tool to grow your brand. So love to see all you guys there.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. So I'm going to do a quick read here about Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. Chris, have you ever tried this, or have you ever read this book?
I haven't read that book. No, I
You've
think I've heard
got
of
to
it.
read this book. So this is by a buddy of mine. It's Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. It's taken him 10 years to write this book. Forbes published it. It's come out #1 in 15 different business categories. And what it does is it goes through the entrepreneurial journey: start, scale, exit, and repeat. And it breaks it down into each section into story, people, money, and systems. Also, there's over 200 interviews that are in here I think it's 200 interviews that are in here, and it's perfect as a reference guide. So check it out. You can go to Amazon. It's available in Kindle, soft and hardcover, and it's also available on Audible. And it's Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. And I know a bunch of people here listening right now have already read it, and I've read it, and it's a fantastic book. So check it out. All right, now we can go to the wheel.
It's time for the Wheel of Elsie.
All right, lots of people. One lucky winner.
Alrighty, so let me shuffle these names up. And if you are the winner, please email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com, and we'll connect you with the prize. And it looks like Tanvir is the winner today.
All right, congrats. That's a first-time winner.
Okay, so yes, if you could email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com, we'll connect you with the prize. And thanks everyone for entering.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast today. Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcasts, click over here.
Lunch with Norm.